Today we're going to be doing Taekwondo, but we're not actually going to be doing any kicks. I know, doesn't sound like Taekwondo, does it? All right, so we're going to learn the three most common blocks that are going to be used in poomsae. All right, poomsae is forms or kata, whatever you want to call it. In Taekwondo, it's called poomsae. So first we're going to start off with a low block, then we'll do a middle block, then we're going to do a high block, and then we're going to do some punches. So low block looks like this, middle block looks like this, high block looks like this. All right, so let's go ahead and let's break it down a little bit more. Starting off with our low block, we're gonna make sure that our palm starts towards our face, over our shoulder. Our other arm is just gonna kind of be out here in front of us. It might raise up a little bit whenever we're doing it. Right now, we're not even gonna really use the hips too much. We'll get to that in just a second though. But I want you to make sure that the palm starts towards the face. A lot of people start with their palm downwards, and the problem with that is there's no twist of the wrist, right? Whenever we're doing a punch or a block in Taekwondo, there's always gonna be some sort of a twisting motion happening at the very last second. So if we start with our palm down, we don't get that, but if we start with our palm towards our face, we have the ability to add in that twist for a little bit of extra power. So we're gonna do this on my count. I'm gonna put one hand on top, and then I'll count this way, and then we're gonna put the other hand on top, and we'll count this way, and we're gonna do that for 1 minute. All right, 1 minute, and begin. Go ahead and put your left hand on top. You're going to mirror me and then go down the arm and block. When we're finishing our block, our non-blocking hand is at our hip bone, directly at our side. Our other one is in front of our other hip bone. We should have a gap here, but we shouldn't have the space where a kick could come through here and hit us. All right, now we're going to put our other hand on top. So put your right hand on top, bring it down, block. Left hand on top. This is our setup position. Bring it down, block. Right hand on top, down, block. Left, here. 1, 2. 1, and then at the very last second, that's when that twist happens. 2. Stay relaxed, relaxed, relaxed. 2. 1, relaxed, relaxed, relaxed. 2. 1 and 2. 1, 2. Just like this. And that's time. All right, so now we're going to do the exact same thing, but now we're gonna add some hips in. So when we set up, we're gonna turn, raise that heel, and then we're gonna come back to the squared position, and we're gonna be turning our hips. Throw my keys out of my pocket. 1 minute, and begin. Right hand on top, raise your right heel, and come back to the squared as you block. Left hand on top, raise the left heel, and block. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now obviously I'm not going to block like this if somebody's just directly in front of me. This is more practicing using the hips and turning, right? So maybe I'm turning and I want to add my hips into there. Remember, martial arts, use your hips, always. 1, 2. 1, 2. But now we need that good stop. I don't want you throwing that block all the way out there. It stops in its position every time. Stay consistent with where that's going to be at. I want you to exhale as you block. Keep this going. About 5 more seconds. It's starting to rain on me. As long as it doesn't start hailing again, like it was 5 minutes ago. All right, time. So the next block that we're going to be doing is going to be our middle block. So our middle block, again, looks like this. Showing from the side now. Whenever we're finishing our block, our knocking knuckles, all right, should be at our shoulder level. From the front angle, you should see that my hand is just past my center line. So I don't want to go short of my center line. I want to go just past that center line. We're starting with one arm extended. Some people start with the arm bent. I was taught extended. It doesn't have to be fully locked out though. Other arm is right here, just behind your ear, and then it comes around for that block. All right, 1 minute, begin. Right hand in front, left hand back. That's 1 and 2, finish your block. 1, straighten the arm that just blocked, other hand goes behind the ear. 2, straighten the right, left goes back, and block. Again, I'm doing mirror version. Straighten the left, right goes back, block. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And now make sure this block comes around as you're blocking. It's not going to come forward, right? It's not like a back fist here. Around. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now I like to make it so I can see through my hands as I'm setting up here, here, and then squeeze it at that last second. Add the tension in at the very end. Set up and block. Set up and block. Set up, block, and that's time. All right, so now we're gonna do the same thing that we did for our low block. So we're going to set up, raise one heel, and then come back. Set up, raise the other heel, and come back. Putting our hips into these blocks now. 1 minute, begin. So now, my right hand's coming back, so your left hand behind your head, and then your right heel up. Middle block. Set up, right hand back, left heel raises, middle block. So I'm turning my hips 90 degrees, and then I'm coming back. Turn and back. 1, relax, 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 2. 1, relax, 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 2. Add those hips into there. Exhale on each one of these. Set it up and block. Set it up and block. Now make sure that your arm isn't too straight. Make sure your arm isn't too bent. If it's too bent, it's going to be too late. You're going to get hit before you're able to block it. If it's too straight, you don't have enough blocking surface area, right? Because we're trying to intercept. So we want to be in that good spot. It should be a little bit over 90 degrees in the elbow. And again, knock your knuckles, shoulder height. Set up and block. Set up and time. All right. So that was our middle block. Our next one is going to be our high block. Again, our high block looks like this. Right? We can add some hips into it, which we're going to in a second. Keys on our high block. The blocking hand goes towards the outside, right? So it's out further. If I'm blocking with this hand, it's going to be out here. Blocks up high. Block with this hand, out here. Now, I usually teach this at first to just raise this block up, right? It's just a rising block. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to teach it the way I like to do it, which raises up to about the chest level, and then it pushes out, right? So it's an up and out motion instead of just this raising up motion, right? If you just need to do the raising motion for now, that's fine. Now, when you're finishing this block, right, I like to think of the wrist of the blocking hand in line with my opposite ear. So it should clear across my head. A lot of people will do this and leave this space open here, bring it out here, and then make sure you're pointing your ulna or your outer forearm bone, not the inner forearm bone, the outer one, up and out. Should be pointed up at a 45-degree angle. All right, we're gonna do this for 1 minute. Begin. Set up, right hand up, left hand across the stomach, palm facing upwards, raise it up, and then press it out. Now the hand that's up at the top comes down, hand at the bottom goes across, so right hand's across, raise it up, press it out. Now, same thing, as we're dropping this one down, this hand comes across, raise it up, and press out. Top hand comes down, bottom hand goes across, up and out. 1, 2. 1, 2. Stay nice and relaxed. 1, 2. At a certain point, you'll start to just kind of flow through them, but I want that set up and the end. Some people set up like this. Some people set up like this. I was taught this way, but I don't mind this way either. Block it, or set it up, and block. 1, 2. Relaxed, then tension. Relaxed, then tension, and that's time. All right, so now we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna add our hips. So now this time, the hand that's reaching across, the one that's gonna be blocking, I want you to think about you're reaching across, you're grabbing something from your pocket, and you're raising that other, or that same side heel up, right? So if I'm blocking with my right hand, my right heel gets raised up. I'm gonna drop down a little bit, bending, and then come up. Here, here. 1 and 2. Get ready for the block, and begin. Set up, 1. Set up, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. All right, 1, 2. 1, I'm bringing it up, and then when it's around my chest, shoulder level, I press out, right? It's going outwards instead of just straight up. So I'm not just going straight up. I can do that, but for me, that's not as good of a block, right? I like to get a little bit more distance out. I'm blocking outwards, right? As opposed to just here. There's not much space here. Chances are I'm probably already gonna get hit, right? So block up and out. 1, 2. Palm starts up, down at the belt. Palm ends kind of outwards, but not all the way. And I want you to point that ulna outwards. and the ulna is the outer forearm bone. And that's time. All right, so next thing we're gonna do, we're only gonna do it for 1 minute, but we're gonna do traditional punches, right? In Taekwondo, you really only punch to 2 targets. It's gonna be the center of the chest, right? The solar plexus. If I'm wearing my dobok, or you see anybody wearing a dobok, they have this black square here. That's where we're punching to. If you don't know where that is, just do this. Feel your ribs, right? We're punching right to the bottom of that, right on the connection. We're trying to essentially break on the ribs, punching right kind of into the heart. I don't like punching into this sternum bone, but I will punch at the very bottom of it, or sometimes just a little bit lower than that, and punch them at the bottom of the lung, which will collapse the lung, make them breathe out. It's what we do whenever we do the Heimlich maneuver to make somebody choking, stop choking. All right, so we're gonna do this from a horse stance. All right, it doesn't have to be a deep horse stance. Taekwondo horse stances aren't karate horse stances, so we're not here. It's here. It's not a super wide, a super deep one. We're going to start with one arm out, and we're just going to be punching to the center. The other punch that we usually will do will go to the nose, right? But we're just going to punch right towards the center here, and just like this. When one comes back, the other one comes out. Palm is up at the belt, and then it goes straight. Palm still up, and then the last second, maybe the last quarter of the movement, that's when we add that tension. Now, if you can as well, I want you to try to squeeze the glute of the side that's punching, right? It'll cause your hips to do this. And then I want you to also relax it back quickly, right? So when I do a punch, I'm doing that motion, but I'm bringing it back towards the end of the punch. It causes more of a whip type of a motion, right? So I'm not gonna go here and stay here with that squeezed glute. I'm gonna relax it. So I'm squeezing it, and then I'm bringing it back once I'm making contact, or at the exact same time I'm making contact. All right, it's a little bit more advanced. If you can do it, awesome. If you can't, try working on it. 1 minute, begin. Stay relaxed and tense up. All right, you hear me exhaling every time? I want you to exhale every time. Try to get those hips moving with these punches. You should be a lot more tired. It's way more tiring than doing this, right? This is easy. Use the hips. And take a breath. All right. So I'm actually a little out of breath from this. All right, cool. So that hip moving technique, I actually got taught that by a karate guy. I don't know, like 7 years ago, maybe not, 6 years ago, something like that. It was a while ago. And I was at a Taekwondo master seminar, right, where they certify master instructors in Taekwondo under the TaeKwonDo and, you know, the World Taekwondo Federation. When I was there, the guy that was teaching that technique was walking around kind of making fun of all the masters and grandmasters because so many people didn't know how to do it and couldn't use their hips, and all their punches from horse stances look like this. And I was sitting there laughing. I was like, oh, I can do this because I've been doing this. But I didn't realize how many people couldn't do that. And it does make a big difference in your punches. So make sure you do practice that. That way you won't be the 4th degree black belt trying to become a master and the grandmaster's like, why can't you use your hips in a punch? All right, hopefully you learned something today. If you didn't, well, thanks for sticking around anyways. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.